In episode 10, I showed you how to drill out these holes very precisely on this router mount that we're going to mount on our CNC, but I alluded to the fact that you could do it on a printer. This may be your go-to method for drilling out holes in the future. It's great, it's easy. I'm going to show you how to do it, and it can all be done for free. Here's the way. It's open source, it's OpenSCAD, and all you have to do to use the code is, if you haven't already downloaded OpenSCAD, go into Google, type OpenSCAD, install it on your computer. Once you get it on your computer, if you go below the description of this video, there's a script we're going to paste into OpenSCAD. Left click, holding down your mouse button to grab all the text. Right click to copy to clipboard. Go into OpenSCAD, go into the editor window, which is what I have right here where my cursor is hovering. Click Control V to paste. And then hit this button or hit the F6 button. And when you do, you should have something that comes up like this. This pattern that you see is the same pattern in 2 dimensions that this was in 3 dimensions. There's no extrusion, so there's no height to it. It's flat, it's printable on a regular printer. To use it, all you would have to do is go over to File, go to Export, and export it not as an STL, but as an SVG. You can save it on your desktop. If you double click on it, it will open up. If you hit Control P, you can print it. Make sure it's scaled 100%, print it portrait style. And when you do, you can get a pattern. It's also very useful if you, say, wanted to change these hole sizes, keep the spacing exactly the same, but make them just little pinpoints so that you can put a brad point bit exactly. To do that, all you have to do is, instead of doing 6.35, go ahead and scoot it down. Now your brad point would still be 1/4 inch if you were drilling this out, but we can scoot it down to this, and then the tip is very easy to center on one of these holes. It will actually show up on your physical printed copy from your printer. So even though it doesn't show up so well on the screen right now. So I'm going to increase that size slightly. Another thing that's very useful to do is, let's say we wanted a larger pattern. How would we do that? I'm going to reset this to the original and recenter it a little bit so that hopefully you can see what's going on. Let's say I wanted to put evenly spaced holes for the 1/4 inch bolts all the way up my board that I can physically mount this in different positions. How would I do that? Well, rather than just doing a template like this, which of course we could do, it would be handier if we printed on a full 8.5 by 11 and like maxed our space. So how would we accomplish that? All we would do is keep the hole spacing the same, keep the original hole position the same, but go ahead and change the height, drag it on up to the max, which I think is 250 on my parameters, and then go down to the number of holes and just drag it up until you like max out how many drill holes you could put in there. It looks like 12 is going to be the max. And then all you'd have to do is go to File, Export, and save as SVG and print it out. And you'd have a pattern. You can do the same trick we did before. Even though we're going to use a drill bit of a certain diameter, we can go ahead and change the hole size for our pattern so that we can have a single pinpoint to put it on. For example, if we were to physically drill this to the board and we wanted to use threaded inserts, if you saw my router table that was a vacuum, I had hold downs, and I used a 9mm hole to put threaded inserts that would take a 1/4 inch bolt, which is exactly the bolt size that we put physically in this. If I would take a 9mm brad point and drill these out, I should be able to put those threaded inserts from the top, which would be really handy. How would I do that? I would go ahead and take this, and I would come over here, and I would just shift this down. And when you do, those holes stay centered on the same positions that we had when we had it all the way up at 6.35. So I'm just going to scoot it up a few times so that you can see the process. I hope you're seeing the power in all of this, and then we could save it. And let's say we didn't even want to do a template for this. We just wanted to make a jig template for something else. We could go ahead and we could just like manipulate the width, drag it on out. We could change the spacing of our holes to whatever we want. We could change the hole diameter. Let's say we wanted to machine this on a CNC in the future, and we could change it to whatever size hole we want, and then we could drag the SVG into our software, and we could physically cut that out on our CNC, or of course we could also put it as a single point. Next video, I'm going to show you my old CNC, and we're going to start talking about how we assemble